Before you can really fully understand this map that we have put together, there are a few articles I'd like you to reference and read over to grasp the full scope of what is happening to our children in the education system. Forbes has a couple of articles. One is Data is the New Oil. Another one from 2018 is The First Blockchain Baby. And I highly recommend that you visit wrenchinthegears.com. Questions parents should be asking about digital curriculum. You'll notice that her research goes back to that particular article is 2016. Something I want you to notice also in these articles are the dates these articles were written, because that will also give you an idea about how long this has actually been planned, that this was not an accident, that this has been the plan the whole time to get your child on a Chromebook, and the reason that your child needs to be on the Chromebook, and that the ESSA and ESSER funding and CARES Act money that went to the schools, if you look in their contracts specifically, talks about most of this funding is going for the infrastructure to ensure equity, which means everyone will be on the Chromebooks. That is how they're able to collect the data. And unless you understand what data is, there's regular data, there's paradata, and there's metadata. And if you don't know what those terms are, I would suggest that you look those up so that you can understand how the main data that they're able to get, and then through surveys, through other digital records, which they speak of a digital footprint, which is anything digital that you have done, that they're able to run algorithms and analytics through this information to come up with predictive analytics and to assess you in this dossier of your child. They're able to assess them and give them scores. And that a lot of these metrics are turning to social emotional learning and behavioral metrics, where they can red flag your child for interventions on a whole host of things, whether it's medical, whether it's through a counselor, or whether it's through social services. All of this data is being housed again with the government. And if you don't understand the importance of data and who has it and who's running it, we will go over in this map your rights as a parent and how you can invoke these rights when it comes to this paradigm that they're building for the fourth industrial revolution. Because the one thing I'm not seeing talked about when everyone goes into the World Economic Forum, blockchain, digital citizenship, the UN Agenda 2030, they're not addressing the education part. And that happens to be one of their biggest goals and has been since back in 2014. The Gates Foundation has put billions of dollars into this particular agenda. And it's not just them, it's the Zuckerberg and his wife, Chan, and Hewlett Packard. There are several tech companies that are investing in these nonprofit organizations to roll out their agenda. And our map is going to show how this is a strategic plan, but I also want you to understand that this is global and that the United Nations has said for years, over a decade, that one of their top priorities is global education. How do you accomplish global education? It's through the devices. They were able to, in the first blockchain baby from 2018, Forbes magazine, they were able to capture a baby in utero to start creating a digital footprint, track biometrics, and give them a blockchain ID, which is your global ID, from a remote tribe in Tanzania. People who don't even have IDs. They've never been ID'd. So just the scope of this and to understand that it's global. Another thing I want you to research before we go into the map is the GAO.gov is the Government Accountability Office. And it's not just them reporting on this, so you can actually find lots in a search. K through 12 is the #1 target for cyber attacks. And of course, this started in 2020. Why? Because they're putting all the kids on devices and they're also creating dashboards at the schools. So that is something that you definitely want to look into, because That right there tells you the schools are not able to keep your child's data safe. And in a lot of states, there is legislation that basically says that the schools are not required to tell the parents if their child's data has been breached. So there are definitely some opportunities we have for correcting some legislation around that as well.
No more Chromebooks.